Let's talk about the California teams. California dreaming,
Yeah.
Chris. So USC and UCLA will officially be a part of the Big Ten starting next season in 2024. Let's take a quick look at what the Big Ten gave those two schools. We'll start with UCLA first in 2024.
4.
Their home teams will be, or home games will be there in the Rose Bowl, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Ohio State, and crosstown rival who they will play every year in USC. Their away games the first year includes Indiana, Iowa, that team up north, and they've got to go all the way to Piscataway, New Jersey to take on Rutgers, which would that's like a 6-hour flight. So 5-hour flight maybe. Anywho, that is their 2024 schedule. 2025, it flips around. Their home games are Maryland, Purdue, Rutgers, Wisconsin. So they played Rutgers in back-to-back years. Again, that schedule automatically tells you that the excuses that they gave us on playing everybody in 4 years,
Right.
Rutgers. Okay. Their away games are Illinois, Michigan State, Nebraska, Penn State, and USC. That is UCLA. Over to USC now in 2024. They get 4 home games in the Coliseum, 5 on the road. Their 4 home games are Illinois, Iowa, that team up north, and Wisconsin. Playing the Loserines in Wisconsin at home should be big crowds for them.
Yeah.
Iowa maybe. Iowa can travel, as we saw.
Mhm.
Illinois, not so much. Their away games, 5 of them, Maryland, Northwestern, Penn State, Purdue, and then UCLA. In 2025, the Trojans get 5 home games. They are Indiana, Michigan State, Nebraska, Penn State, and then UCLA. Their away games include Minnesota. They come to the Shoe to take on the Buckeyes. They then have to go to Piscataway, New Jersey to take on Rutgers. And they also will go to Madison, Wisconsin to take on the Badgers. So those are the two schedules for UCLA and USC. Chris, I'm really looking forward to playing UCLA in 2024. I think that's going to be a fun game for Ohio
Yeah.
State to go out to the Rose Bowl and play UCLA. I think that's fun. I'm also looking forward to them traveling to the Big House. That would be fun to watch in 2024. In 2025, I know that's really looking down the road, but going to Happy Valley to play Penn State and what I can only hope would be a whiteout would be good
Yeah.
TV. That'd be fun TV to see. Hosting Wisconsin would be all right as well. That'll be fun to watch. USC, of course, they've got in 2024. They go to Penn State, they go to Happy Valley, and then they host the team up north in Wisconsin. Those 3 quality games
That's
in their first
yeah.
year.
UCLA got a lot more love for introduction to the Big Ten than what USC did.
Yeah, and then in 2025 they will travel to the Horseshoe and they travel to Madison, and then they host Penn State inside the Coliseum. So those will be 3 matchups. So UCLA, USC in the Big Ten. Now that you've seen the schedule, are you a little bit more excited about it?
Eric, the only thing I wasn't as excited about as far as these two teams coming in was playing in the Rose Bowl. I think they're great additions. I look forward to the coaching matchups with, as an Ohio State fan, with Ryan Day versus UCLA, and especially Ryan Day versus USC, because that's, these guys with Lincoln Riley and Ryan Day are regarded as two of, I think, the best coaches, that are still fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great football all around. But man, the schedule makers did not do USC any favors at all when you're talking about going to Wisconsin, going to Ohio, and this is what 2025, going to Ohio State, going to Wisconsin, going to Piscataway, and then having to play Penn State that same year. I mean, if Wisconsin does what we think they're going to be capable of doing under Luke Fickle, Penn State, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. That's pretty brutal. That's a tough schedule, and I think that obviously, like I said, the UCLA definitely got the much easier end of it versus what USC was handed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the two teams as an addition. I think it's going to be great football. I think there's going to be some great stories there. Um, and I think, if we look at it, maybe it's going to benefit us a little bit in the long term, having these West Coast teams as part of the Big Ten, getting ourselves out there. Maybe that's going to, enhance our recruiting presence out there as well.
It could. I've heard a lot of the mid-tier Big Ten schools talk about, going out to California and landing some of the 3 stars from
Yeah.
California that they haven't ever really been able to land as a way to benefit their programs. That's definitely a possibility as you look into that. I'm excited because I think it just bringing in USC specifically, I think elevates the Big Ten to where there's no longer a question on who the second best conference is.
Oh, I agree. And, you look at it, I think ultimately, like you've said, like we've talked about so many times, this is all a stepping stone.
Hmm.
It really is. And I won't touch on that because I know we're going to talk about it later in the show, but I think it's ultimately a stepping stone to landing the biggest free agent fish in the sea.
Paul Buckeye kind of talks on that stepping stone a little bit. Just think about more teams being added in the coming years. Wisconsin is going to be better rivalry than Penn State, and Penn State will be a better rivalry. Um, the Big Ten only said we're going to do these in 2-year increments. There's a reason why.
Yeah.
That's because there is still a lot of potential to add more teams
Yes.
to the Big Ten footprint. And so why even go and make a schedule beyond 2 years out when there's a very good chance you're going to have to rip that schedule up and make a new one because now you've got Oregon and Washington in the mix, or maybe even some other schools like we talked about that could be in the mix. Donald Hoffer says if USC wants to call themselves one of the best teams in the country, they should run the gauntlet. Yeah, let's see how you do
Yeah.
in the Big Ten. Let's see. We're going to find out right away.
Big Ten a little bit tougher than that Pac-12 they've been playing in, Eric.
It's gonna be very different, I think, for them. Now, here's the thing: a lot of people have been talking about how USC has never played in the cold weather in November. That's not true.
No.
They play Notre Dame in the cold weather
Yes.
in November, so they know what it's like. This is a program that has done it before. I will give them credit for that, but now they're just going to have to do it more often than what they're used to. Um,
And
so
if you
yeah,
think that Lincoln Riley can't prepare a team to play in cold weather, think again.
yeah, he did it all the time in Oklahoma, right?
That's right.
Uh, the Big Ten East had to do it for the last 10 years. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Well, the Big Ten East has carried this conference for the last 10 years. Let's just call it like it is.
But you
So
know what? In 2 more years, there is no more Big Ten East, Eric.
1 year. This will be the last year.
That's what I'm saying. This is last year conferences. In 2 more years, the divide is done.
Do you think that's a great point? Do you think that in some weird way benefits the Western teams at all? I think it benefits Penn
I
State
think
more
it
than
benefits Penn
anybody.
State. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely does.
There's a very good chance that one of the two teams that'll be playing for a Big Ten championship will be either Ohio State or Michigan because they're going to finish the year off against one another, and then the other one could be like a USC or Penn State, based off of who they've played in the record.
And I'm gonna say it again, Eric. Don't sleep on Wisconsin.
No, don't. Yeah, absolutely, don't do that. They're going to be solid.
Yeah,
Um, Maybe that's why they threw Iowa a bone because they realized Iowa's never going to play for another Big Ten championship.
probably.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
possibility. So yeah, so there's that, guys. I know that was a lot of talk about the scheduling that came out, but there was just so much excitement around that and things that we had to throw that